When you say run. Blah, 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 blah. I watched episode 42 of My Hero Academia titled My Hero just by itself. Oh my god. Oh! This track too! Where do I even begin? This showed like a really intense boss fight from start to finish. Like, they were able to squeeze in like that throughout the entire episode when there's all these other things happening. It all started with our 5 characters in their supplementary classes, plus Class B's copy quirk dude. They're doing their own thing, and then that's when they get the telepathic like note from like Madeley that like, hey, villains are here, you want to do something. You see Eraserhead just like running out there like, oh shit, what are they doing here? And that's when you see Dabi like, oof. So what we know about Dabi like right now as far as the anime is that he is like pretty much a fire quirk, very similar to Todoroki. So I'm getting some huge like similarities between the two, so I'm having an idea of what he might be. But as you see like later on throughout the episode, you see all the other classmates and how they respond to the situation. Obviously Midoriya's group, like with Pixie Bob and Tiger, facing off with those two. You see that the lizard dude, he's full pro Stain. And after that he whips out that gigantic sword that's made out of a whole bunch of other swords and axes. Wait. With a lot of blades. It took Ida to make him know, it's like, oh, excuse me, I think I'll actually take you guys seriously now. But that one dude that's next to him, the guy who committed like 9 burglaries, like 3 murders, and 29 like attempted murders, Tiger was out for blood for him, considering that like he was about to kill Pixie Bob. Dude, the fact that like he was so triggered, the fact that Tiger was so triggered over the fact that like Pixie Bob was about to get killed, considering that like she's trying to find romance at her age, this was very odd, but you know, it was actually pretty humorous too. That's when Midoriya was like, hey, I know where Koda is, I'll go after Koda. I'll be honest in the sense that I don't really understand why they had Midoriya like go out on his own to find Koda when they could have brought an extra person. Maybe they weren't assuming that a villain would be right there next to Koda. But yeah, Koda, like, this was an episode focused on Koda and Deku versus this guy. I don't know if they put his name in there. Yeah, that's his name. That's the name that he's given. But yeah, Muscular. He comes in as Jason with that mask. And he's like, hey kid, I like the hat. I like that hat too, by the way. You see him, he looks really much like Bakugo. And he does ask about where Bakugo is. Very odd, right? Throughout this fight, like, it's obvious. Like the way that Muscular's quirk is set up, where he's able to create additional muscles depending on when he needs it, whether he needs like a little bit more speed versus power. He has a lot of power. When you see this, you kind of think to yourself like, well, this guy is very much so like All Might's and Deku's quirk. It really feels like Deku's like against a class of his own. Of all the encounters he's had, this is the one will really push him to his limits because of like how similar the quirks are. If Deku doesn't go like 100%, it's not gonna happen. Like, he's not gonna win. You see him, he's really struggling, but what really pushes Deku to the limits is the fact that he has to do everything to protect Koda. It's not very much like Ida, in the sense that Ida can also like defend himself like once he's out of Stain's quirk effect, and he's also like working with someone else. Yeah, so Deku had to go like 100%, and even with 100%, like Muscular was able to brilliantly use his muscles, like expand it and create like a soften, like a barrier that would soften the blow, and that was very impressive. And you saw like Deku, he sacrificed an arm for nothing, but it kind of adds more to Koda's mindset, changing his mind about what heroes are to him. But you know him, it's like, it's still really hard for him. And even like when Madeley tells him that, you know, you're gonna find someone who's gonna save you, and you're gonna understand like what it really means to be a hero, he was still like on edge about that, especially like with Muscular being the very person who killed his parents. At the end of the fight, you see like Deku like just struggling as much as he can against like this overwhelming like weight and power force like exerted from Muscular. And in a blink of an eye, it takes him like a good second out of like a distraction from Koda's part, shooting him with some like water, that Deku kind of reaches within and does that very same thing that All Might did in the end of season 1, which was to have like those stars aligned that kind of indicates like receiving power from the previous generations of like All for One or One for All. And so he tapped in that and had this, I think it's 1,000,000% like, I think I can look it up here, Delaware Detroit Smash. Oh my god, like, and that's just through sheer adrenaline. That was a fight that Deku definitely needed, but it's also one that kind of proves the fact that like, even though he reaches this like incredible strength, that he can't do with that again. So even if he were to face off against Muscular again, there's no guarantee that he can do the same thing again to win. And I kind of like that about this fight, is that it's something that's set up and something that's very urgent. It has that sense of urgency. Like throughout the entire fight, you see like Deku just bouncing off as much as he can. He tries to evade all these attacks, but he's just a tad bit slower and also weaker. And when he least expects, he gets his like left arm like broken before he can even use it. And so he only has this one fist to punch Muscular, and even that, like, it's 100%. He breaks that, and then he uses it again for that 1,000,000%, which who knows how that arm is still attached to him. But wow, dude, there was a lot of messages like in that final fight, especially like from Koda's side, really realizing like what Deku is doing despite all the pain that he's going through. And like, we have to give props to Deku again for just having that high pain threshold. Like, he didn't hesitate to use that broken arm again. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for that fight. It was crazy. One last thing I want to point out in this episode was the fact that we saw something like really brutal, and that was like from Todoroki and Bakugo's side. They get the cue from Madelay to just run away, just get out of the area. But then they see that binded dude with like everything but the like, I must do my job. They see that, and like right underneath him is just like a severed hand. And I was like, oh my god. The people up ahead are Tokiyama and someone else, I forgot the name of it. But dude, one of them lost an arm. And I'm like, it's scary. And the fact that like the next episode is just gonna literally be like more just great chaos is, I don't know, it's like I'm watching this and I'm also like just running off of that like hype energy from that fight. Whew. Wow, dude. Yeah, I guess that's all I can really say. It's just like it's gonna keep happening. Deku's obviously gonna just keep running away with like his flailing arms trying to carry Koda, and it looks like Bakugo's actually gonna be in some serious trouble. Shoot, there's one thing I want to point out, and it was the fact that when Midoriya was down, he was really contemplating like, should I run away? Like, you can't do it, you gotta fight now. He's rationally deciding between two halves of himself whether he should stay and fight or should run. In this type of situation, it almost seems like either one won't even work. It's gonna end up with him and Koda dead on the ground. But he was able to manage to pull through with that adrenaline rush, 1,000,000% Delaware Detroit Smash. Like, what? It's ridiculous, dude. Yeah, I've been like talking way too much, so I'm gonna end here before like I lose my voice entirely. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to know more about our discussions on My Hero, please be sure to like the video and also subscribe to the channel, and also hit that subscribe bell button. Lets you know when we upload videos by the minute, and also support our Patreon. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. #bye everyone.